You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love. Today we continue our conversations with Jim Goodrich.
Oh, you put up the shot from
Had to.
Okay.
Venezuela.
Well, then I still laugh every time I see this picture because some promoter, I don't know who it was, got from left to right with his arm up is Tony Alva, and then you got McGill, Gelfand, then McGill in the red or whatever pinkish cape, and then Rocco.
Rocco. Wow. Rocco and Scroggs.
Tim Scroggs in the black and yellow, and then Ellen O'Neill was the only girl there in red and blue. But this was out in the middle of at the Poliedro, it's a sports arena in Caracas, Venezuela. And they did a skate demo. They had a half pipe there for Tony and some of the guys to skate on, and then they did some freestyle. But the floor was pretty slick, so there was. I really feel for those guys trying to do freestyle out on that floor, but there's a big spotlight on them because there's just thousands of people in the stands all around them. But these costumes they put them in, I'm really surprised that Tony agreed to put those on.
What is his board?
Well, look at McGill.
What do they do to Alva's board? It doesn't say.
I've got another shot of Tony that I shot with one of the military police with a machine gun because it's just so Tony. And I think that's a different board though. But I was shooting Tony like in between during a break out, and they had all these kids. They looked like they're barely 18 with machine guns because the president of the country was there. There was a boxing match along with the skateboard thing. And so I had Tony pose with this kid holding machine gun. And then I got the idea, well, why don't I get this kid with the machine gun on Tony's board and like skate, like shoot, like a pose, whatever. Well, the guy didn't know how to skate and slipped and went flying in the air, and the machine gun went flying up in the air. And we all went running for cover because we didn't know if it was going to go off. So I'll never forget that. But I can't believe that they put these guys into these costumes.
Yeah, I could see Scroggs wearing a cape and having fun. He'd be good at that.
Tim would be.
He'd be goofing on that. So
Tim went into it. I don't remember what Steve Rocco's attitude was, but he was always contrary on everything. So yeah. But if you look at McGill and Gelfand there, I mean, look at them. They're staring at the ground. They're like such shy, introverted guys then. And then next to him is with Tony Alva with his, arm up in the air.
Well, look at McGill's wheels. Look at his back wheels in the invert.
Well, that was because this ramp was built just for a South American Pepsi commercial. In the background is the sports arena. Well, you can't really see it.
Yeah,
Export is covering it, but Pepsi actually built this ramp, and they just painted it. So it's not like the paint was wet, but it wasn't fully cured. So that's what's on Mike's.
Oh,
yeah. So if you look at overhead, see this metal railing,
right
in the top of the frame,
right?
That's a cameraman laying on a dolly track with a film camera.
Oh, wow.
And there's ropes to the far end of the ramp and a rope to this end of the ramp. Me and Mike, we laugh about this every time we see the photo. Anyway, these guys were pulling this cameraman back and forth on a dolly track, trying to keep up with Mike, which I knew was never going to happen. So half the time the guys at that end when Mike's at this end. So I never did get to see the commercial, so I don't know how it came out. But
he'd start vomiting on Mike from up there. He'd be going back and
forth. This is Caracas, Venezuela, right?
This is in Caracas, yeah. And most of us had not, certainly, I mean, McGill and Gelfand, they were only 13 or 14 at the time.
Yeah, so, McGill was 13, yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe that Mike's parents let him out of the house. Gelfand's folks were a little bit more like, we don't care as much, but certainly not McGill's parents. at that age, just crazy. So they were pretty overwhelmed. I mean, well, I felt pretty overwhelmed too. I mean, it's a big culture shock down there. But this was when Venezuela and the U.S. were friends. It's not like it is now. Our relationship is now.
Yeah.
But that was well, I got a million stories I could tell you about that one.
So look at McGill's gloves, wearing Sims gloves.
Oh,
Everyone had to have a pair.
Yeah.
Those sucked. God, they were bad. But
one wrist brace, one glove.
the Sims gloves looked cool, but God, they just did not work.
Yeah. I don't know why he's got his name written on why he wrote his name on the board. But you can see there's a Town and Country sticker.
Yeah.
Oh man, he'd bring stickers and t-shirts over, everybody. And so many companies got in trouble with their sponsors for having those TNC stickers on their boards.
It was the coolest thing.
It was.
Everyone loved TNC.
Yeah, everybody had a TNC sticker on their board.
So, interesting sidebar in this. I remember Scroggs talking about this, and he had remember the Town and Country shorts, the Town and Country surf shorts with the yin.
Oh, yeah.
And Alva boosted his shorts. Alva was borrowing them, and he never gave them back. So Scroggs was pretty disappointed about that.
I can't say it surprises me. I really miss Tim a lot. I mean, I would say even though it was a smaller group of people from the late 70s in Florida, I would say the Florida skaters, including guys like Paul Schmitt, who went on to do so many amazing things, product wise and in the industry. You guys just really inspired me on a level that only the Southern California skaters did.
Very nice.
I mean, on an equal level, not saying one over the other. You guys equally inspired me as much. And I think part of it was the culture, the Florida culture, and the attitude was just different there. Maybe it's because skaters in Southern California were too spoiled, right? Like they have it all.
It was the humidity. The humidity's what does it.
That's probably true, Phil.
Speaking of Paul Schmitt, isn't that him on the wall down there on the yellow shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Paul's in the middle, kind of in the middle in the yellow shirt, and then that's George in the purple.
Right.
Chuck Dinkins.
So there's Dinkins. There's me. There's Chuck Holtz.
Chuck Holtz, right? And then I forget the guy's name in the white shirt to the left of Paul.
It's Keith Oline.
Like Keith Oline, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think he was inducted with me in the Florida Hall of Fame in 2013.
Yeah,
that's where I met him for the first time.
He's a great slalom skater from Gainesville.
Yeah.
Oline was a world champion slalom skater for years.
I don't think I knew that. I didn't know anything about his history. Like I met Jimmy the Greek.
Yeah,
for the first time at this session, because we went to this session because the Bro Bowl was going to get bulldozed and rebuilt.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had a really fun session there.
Is that Bockham with the prison
Bockham,
stripes on?
Chris Bockham in the striped shirt.
Right.
Yep, and then Cleo next to him, and
Scott Houston.
Scott Houston, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't know those guys, but Chris and we go back. So I was excited to see Chris because I hadn't seen him since back in the day.
And Cleo.
He's still shredding.
Scott's killing it. So is
I got coping block right here. Here you go. I support Cleo.
Well, and I like Dinkins too, because he had a certain style, just like Chuck's style. I got some shots of him cutting along the wall, just kind of leaning back,
Chuck
I
and
just love it.
Kelly Lynn, along with Chuck, two of my favorite skaters to watch skate because of this.
Yeah, I haven't seen Kelly in forever. Now, I did see quite a few people in 2013 at the induction, the Hall of Fame. Quite a few of the guys I hadn't seen, like John Grigley and I can't remember who all was there, but
so that's the Bro Bowl, the original Bro Bowl. That was built in 76, 77, George.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
And so they were going to bulldoze it for to do a development that's right near downtown Tampa. And Dave Adams and I were kind of got it stalled enough because there was no reason to bulldoze it. The DOT wasn't going to use it.
But you guys got the historical designation, right?
That
Yeah.
that was Shannon Bruffett. So we kind of stalled them, and then Shannon Bruffett swooped in. He kind of went overboard because I hate this thing. I don't like, never liked it. But he made it got it deemed a historic landmark, so they couldn't destroy it without rebuilding it exactly alike. But there's one thing, it's a trivia question, one thing about the new one that is not like the old one is we can see the stuff in the bottom here. It looks like trash, a backpack or whatever that is in the bottom of the bowl.
Right.
The drain there never fit, and it always had big slots in it. So you could not, you'd have to go over those funky humps and then ollie over I didn't ollie. I was a bowl rider. I didn't do that. So I always ate shit at that bowl. But so he had it done and declared a historic landmark. So they built it, they moved it, what, a quarter of a mile north.
Yeah.
And built the same thing. Tim Payne got the job with Team Payne.
Interesting.
So
Bro Bowls where the boards for bros started.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. We was skating Thanksgiving with Paul Schmitt, his daughter, and me and one of my daughters, and Ryan Clements. A couple of guys from Spot were there. I didn't know them; they didn't know me, and there was all these kids out there, and they wanted to borrow your board, and we said, "Well, you know, in the daytime you kind of let them do it. At night you didn't, because if they ran off with it, you wouldn't.
Right.
It would be dangerous." So Paul said, "Why don't we get them their own board?" And the next day we met again, and that's where it started. Was about a month later, we gave away 45 boards there, and we haven't stopped.
I always wondered how that got launched, how that got started, Ed.
Well, I mean, Paul will deny it. He'll say it was somebody else's idea, but it was Paul's idea. I just happened to be there, and Brian and Spot have taken it 501c3, and with Michael Blandford down there as he's the executive director of Boards for Bros. So those guys,
Yeah.
they're doing great stuff. I'm just up here, weighing it, having a big time in North Carolina with it. But it's the Boards for Bros started there, and it's
Paul's just amazing. I mean, I just have so much respect for him. But I remember I wouldn't say we made fun of him, but he was always kind of that baby humor.
Oh yeah, we did. We made fun of him. Yeah.
And I do remember when he first came out with the sticks. I think he was calling them Schmitt sticks from the start, right? But
yes.
Yeah, out of the garage or whatever. And I remember looking at them and thinking, well, these things are going to crack, but it sounds like a good idea, but it's sort of weird. I'm always open-minded to progressive for new things, but just the fact that he stayed with it and made it happen. I just have and of course that didn't even get into what he's doing today.
Yeah, it was a start. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
He's made over 15 million decks.
Oh my gosh. Well, if anybody would know those stats, it would be Paul.
Well, yeah.
I like his the hat he's wearing in that picture with the ollie boards and
so where was that taken at?
Got a Santa hat on.
Craig Snyder had done, he approached me when he was first working on it, and he said, would you be nice enough to read my rough draft? And of course, the concept of this, I thought he's crazy to come out with a book that big, because a $50 retail
almighty, yeah,
skateboard book. Not that I didn't love the idea, I absolutely wanted him. And I thought the name was a mistake if he was going to do a wide range of topics. But other than that, he wanted the Gelfand connection. I get that, to help sell the book. But he sent me the rough draft, and it was just horrible. And I hate to say that live on air, but it was just, and I think he recognizes he's not a great writer. I'm not a great writer. I think I'm an adequate writer, but he wanted me to kind of polish it up a little bit. And I said, well, do you have like 10 years for me to finish this?
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I don't remember what he
awesome.
ended up doing, but this was in San Diego. And he got a group of that's
There's Lonnie Toft.
Lonnie Toft on the far
Yeah,
left, I guess,
far left,
Lance
yeah.
is right next to Paul, to the right of Paul, and then Paul is Santa, and then Brad Bowman there in front of Paul, and then a guy who skated across the country with flags on a thing, and I don't know what he was raising money for something, whatever. That's the guy behind Brad Bowman, and then Craig Schneider with the cap in the front holding the book. John Hughes, he was an old Lacosta skater.
Yeah.
Per Wheelander holding the ollie
Wow.
board.
Oh, wow. Yeah, great.
And then, I'm not sure why Per came out, because he doesn't typically come out for events.
Yeah,
And
it was
then
the big battle
Brian,
between Per Wheelander and Rodney. That was like the big magazine battle or something.
I guess, and then Brian Logan, second from the right, and then Gunnar Haugo, who was the inventor of some trick.
The gun air.
Gun air, and he
the
never
gun
really
air,
got,
which is
yeah,
called an indie air now. Yeah.
yeah, he never really got credit for it. Yeah, it should have been called the gun air, but that real humble guy, and never would push for that. And then the Clearwater Fun-n-Sun Championships, that was a fun event. And I don't know why, but for some reason, Crystal Loges comes to mind. And I think that's where I first got, don't worry, I'm not going to go into details of Crystal, but that's when I first really got to know her, I think. And that's not a pun. But in the spread was on the left-hand side of the spread was a picture of, oh, you've got it. I love this collage here. Like this with this homeless drunk guy or whatever's going on here with the, well, I'm pointing, you guys can't see, but
this guy.
There he is. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then, but Crystal's in the, it's the only photo I think I ever shot of her. And then Clyde Rogers there in the upper left, and Alan Gelfand there.
Wow, that's great.
So yeah, Crystal was a good skater. I'll tell you that much. And we can't find her. We don't know where she's gone. So
I found her on Facebook, or I can't remember. It was many years ago. I found her, and she looked. Of course, I knew she'd look very different. She wouldn't have her last name. She got married, obviously, but I sent her a private message saying, and I tried to make it very, hey, it's so good to see you, not like, like she would take it as a negative.
Yeah.
No response. So I can't tell for sure if it was her, but I believe it was her.
So there's a picture of me in that lower right-hand corner. I forgot about that. Next one up. Next one up. There you go.
Oh, wow. That's
and I don't remember that big character that's like next to you there.
Yeah,
where did
I
you
don't remember that one.
I don't know where you got that.
Well, I think that was one of the things we saw on the side of the road. Like I shot a picture, me, Steve Fisher, Brent Rademacher, and Ray Diez. We were traveling. What's that?
Going up 441 or up Highway 19. I remember that.
Oh, the dinosaur or the fish?
No, the freeway that connects the north and south.
75.
Like
75.
So okay, that sounds right. We ran into a huge fish that was like that, made out of plaster, fiberglass or something. And I had all the guys get under the fish like they caught it and they'll pick it up, sort of thing. And I think that was kind of the same idea with this genie, whatever guy. But who is this that's doing the handstand in the reservoir at Clearwater?
And that is Brian Lilgy. So it's just listed. If you go to the credits, you just freestyle skater is all it says. But that's Brian Lilgy, who also skated for Kryptonics, and I'm actually still in touch with him.
Well, and this is Shawn Peddie doing the board drop, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, the other interesting piece is that Brian Lilgy was the bass. He's a musician, and he spent years as the bass player for the Indigo Girls.
Really?
And if you think about that, he's on these big tours with this band. There's a bunch of lesbians and has a lesbian audience. So zero trim off of that tour. He'd be the guy. He'd be like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" No love. He's like, "Man, this sucks."
So what's the lower left? Is that Shawn Peddie on one of his?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we
seven
stacked
board?
up, I don't know, 5 or 6 boards or something.
7 boards on
Seven.
2.5 feet of vert
Yeah.
into no flat bottom.
So for those watching, if you see this picture of McGill here on the glass, on the far side is a 2-foot stack, 2.5-foot stack of concrete with coping at the top. On the other side of the far side of this 4x4 piece of glass is a matching piece of concrete with a rounded top. That is where he's got 7 boards stacked right over here, and it's nighttime.
I can't believe you remember those details.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So because all he's doing when he's right here is trying not to fall off, right? Because it's wobbling all over. He's looking right here. This is where my life's going to end.
Yeah, exactly.
So when he dropped in, everybody with a camera took their flash.
Yeah.
He did the splits and he survived it. He got up and he tried to skate out his 45 seconds, but man, he would do that trick at Rainbow Wave, and that's how he started.
The transition on this half pipe was insane. It was insane.
It was about an 8-foot transition, but there was no flat bottom.
Right.
So
right.
That's
and
what
even the transition coming into the plexiglass here.
Oh yeah, kink. Yep.
Yeah, the owners didn't think anybody would get to the top.
Do you have that photo of Alan Gelfand doing the rock and roll on the top of it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got Fish doing it.
Fish doing it.
That's right. I forgot I shot one. And this was when I was doing these multiple flashes. Like, see that red flash in the background. Didn't really impact the photo, but I thought it would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, you got to try. I think, and then you got Sabra. That's the edge where Shawn Peddie has stacked all the boards.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, Clyde Rogers in his run did a Clyde slide in on the plexiglass.
It is so nuts.
So he just, it'd be like I'm trying to remember what they would call it now. It's like a disaster now, but he just rode his Clyde slide in down 4 feet of vert. Oh, that just fucking crushes me.
Oh, look at Steve with the trucks. I can tell he's got extensions on his Gullwing trucks.
Yeah, those are the Gullwing Super Pros that you had to put the little extenders out on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would do consecutive rock and rolls. It was crazy.
I love those. I love those trucks.
Yeah.
Ed, go back to that thing with the Clearwater, the article that Jim wrote, the one before this slide here. And people don't realize that they didn't have computer layout stuff. You had to do all this with a typewriter and pictures. It was like a hassle to make anything.
Oh, it's very time consuming. Yeah. So that's Clyde. And then I've got this original slide of Tim, the one doing the spin, the 1-footed spin, but that slide is missing of Clyde.
I think I've got Tim I got a bigger shot of Tim. That's not as grainy. I apologize. My scanner is not.
No, this is fine. I mean, you can see what we're talking about. That's what's important.
Go forward again, and where the fellow on the ground. There he is. He's lying on. Everybody's behind him. Do we have that video?
Yeah. So right now, did somebody say they wanted to see a video of the guy?
Yeah, I wanted to see the shot of the gang and the guy that was sleeping.
So what I want to show you first is how wholesome this event is. The Fun-n-Sun event in '79 at Clearwater, and there's Bruce Walker. And I don't know those guys. I know that guy.
That was Daly and Scroggs.
It was?
Yeah.
So
Rodney.
And this is Rodney. And Phil was and he still is very supportive of Rodney. So we have the beginning of Rodney's run, and in a minute.
This is great. I don't remember seeing Rodney skate slalom.
Well, he entered 3 contests. He entered 3 events. So he got 3 first place prizes.
Yeah.
So watch, I mean, it's like, and this guy's, he's, 5 seconds behind. There he is.
That's Mike Koshia.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Rodney, and he's riding HPG gull wings, the split axle gull wings.
Wow.
That was Ronnie Brown.
That's
Ronnie
Rodney's
Brown
mom right there.
Mrs. Mullins.
Such great memories there.
Oh, there's the peeper. Fucking Ray.
There's Ray Diez with the chicks.
So you said
is that Ray with his back to us?
Yep.
Yes, and this
Oh my gosh.
is the adjacent hotel. Look at the ladies in the chairs.
Look at him. He's like a little munchkin back there.
Wait till you see what he does. He pulls his pants down.
Hey, there's Suda, and there's Crystal right behind Suda in the
and Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin is in the shot as well. There's
Crystal in the blue flyaway.
Right here. Now watch these guys. This is Fulmer and Scroggs, and that's you, Jim.
Oh yeah. This is great footage.
All right,
there he
so
is.
That's Judd Hudson, but nobody's watching him. This is the bull riders. This is the vert riders.
Oh.
And it's slalom day.
It looks like I'm heading over.
Yeah, so this
guy's
having a nice little alcohol nap.
Yeah.
You took a picture of this. This was in the mag.
So
okay, so this is how this all came. Look at
we-
me, I'm on
we
the
just
ground already, getting ready for the shot.
yeah. So we got Scroggs, Anderson, Fulmer. That's Kevin Anderson. There's McCrannels.
Oh man, I miss Scott. Mr. Dentist now.
Oh yeah. There's Diez. And Fulmer's trying to stomp on his head. And then
You
I'm
rolled over.
laughing
You're
so
laughing
hard.
so much you rolled over.
I can't even shoot the picture. I'm laughing so hard.
so wait a minute. So that's Jimmy Marcus, but this is worth a review. All right, hold on.
This is some great footage though.
Well, this is photos by Phil Chiocchio. Please indulge the donations to Phil Chiocchio. And
What would we do without you, Phil?
Hey, but
you probably have a party.
Who set that slalom course up?
that's
a good looker.
All right, so now you can see it developing. I don't need to talk over it. So he was just skating for Walker. It was before.
Wow. Look at Ray.
Taking his pants down.
Pull your pants down, right?
You know, Ray hasn't really changed that much.
No. Oh,
He keeps trying to talk me into going down on the boat with him on one of his.
no.
Probably want to avoid that.
Yeah, I've been warned not to consider it.
I think the term friggin' in the riggin' applies.
This is Jimmy Marcus, and we'll just
Really, Jimmy the Greek?
Jimmy the Greek. Look at that. He can't turn the board. He's kick turning.
He's so little.
No, this is like last week. Jimmy's still. We'll watch him fall down, and then we'll go to the next video.
Jimmy is building pools.
Was it hard? Was it hard to get the city to agree to closing off the street for this?
That was a question for Muriel Yantis. She's a great one. She's in the Florida Skater Hall of Fame as well. She's the one who coordinated all this.
The bad part is that on the second day they closed it down early before all of the finals were done. They actually had to hold some of the finals were not on that street. They actually held them in the Clearwater Skate Park parking lot. So like 2 or 3 age groups. The pros, obviously we got to do the runs, but the rest of the event didn't go off. They shut her down a little bit early when she was pissed.
Well, because the world kind of hated us back then, they didn't really cooperate in giving us. Well, I recognize.
Hold on, there you are.
Basin, right?
All right, so what we're going to do.
Oh wait,
there's just a little bit because there's a lot in here.
There's Shawn.
There's Ray, Shawn.
All right, so our next video we want to look at is this is in Sensation Basin. This is the 79 contest and the Pepsi Team Challenge, I believe. So
Yeah.
So
Wow.
wait.
just want to make sure it gets captured here that so if you think about who was skating in those events, there was a team from Sims that had Mike Fulmer and Scott McCrannles and Chuck Lagana and a bunch of heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And then you had the Powell team with Rodney Mullen, Alan Gelfand, Mike McGill, had some real, Robbie Weir, great heavy hitters.
Wow.
And then you had the Walker team with Shawn Peddie, and then you had Markel and all of that. What team won? What team won? It was the team challenge, right? What team won? What team was that?
What kind of shirt you got on? What's that shirt say there?
Rick Tonics ended up taking that. Me, Fisher, Dan Murray.
Yeah.
That's me, Fisher.
Ray Diez was on
Diez.
that team.
Yep.
Hey, speaking of Dan, what happened to Dan?
Dan's in Lake Marino in
Mount
Central Florida.
He's
And
near
he-
Orlando.
He's running a boat at Disney World. He's a captain at one of the tour
He also does all of the video editing for Mr. Food and a couple other things. He's doing quite well with his video editing. So So this right here, I know it's hard to see, but when I roll it, I want you guys to understand what you're looking at. Phil built a wall of mirrors, I don't know, 40, 50 feet long.
Yeah, it's big.
For Rodney to practice in. So
I used those mirrors for a shot with Rodney.
I think I've got that coming up. This is where he spent, his days with ankle guards, high tops, knee pads, hip
wrist
pads,
guards, full tech,
wrist guards,
yeah,
and helmet to do freestyle. And every once in a while, as you know, Jim, you got a picture of him doing. I think I saw him skate Vert less than 10 times.
I never saw him skate.
I only saw him skate Vert once, and if you have that photo, I'll tell you the story behind it.
I have it. Let's watch this video.
When we get there.
Yeah, let's just let this roll, and then we can decide if we want to come back.
Wow.
Peddie, Kelly,
Lynn,
Ray.
Diez.
My gosh, there's so many.
Bruce Mason.
There's Clyde, Ronnie Brown, Fisher.
Yeah.
Rodney.
That hair.
Mike Kaufman.
There's Mike Kaufman.
Ed Womble. Tim Schiller. Bockham.
Oh my gosh, Bockham looks so different.
Mandarino.
Bobby Mandarino. There's Jimmy Marcus with his Z Groove wheels.
Did you see your old roommate there, Jim?
What's that?
Do you see your old roommate? Kit Traverso just went by.
Oh.
Scroggs on the mic.
Talked to them in forever.
And there's Shawn Jackson hitting on Perry Platterotti.
George Wilson and Jim Goodrich in Florida.
Wow.
So
that's so cool.
It is, let's see. Yeah, so we're gonna watch one more video, I think, after this one, which is
I'm gonna have to run here in a bit. So
Brian.
So Brian Evanson, Rolling Waves, built that.
Right. All right, so you might remember this, Jim. We're gonna play a little video here.
Oh, yeah, we were just talking about this last week.
Yeah, so I thought there was a picture in the magazine that you took of Alan just looking over the edge.
No, somebody took a picture.
I forgot all about that.
Somebody took a picture of the crew up on the big rock, but it wasn't me.
Damn, who's that skinny boy?
My gosh.
You look like a wet rat.
Tony Romano in the middle. Of
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was Ray at first. This is in Clearwater or near Clearwater?
This is in Williston, outside of Gainesville.
Oh,
Big limestone quarry.
We all took a break. Yeah.
But Jim, can you come back on another episode? Because we got a lot more stuff to show and talk about from that whole era.
well, I told Ed I'd be happy to. I mean, well, I can't call myself retired. I'm semi-retired, but I've got a pretty flexible schedule. So
Good.
yeah.
I gotta go.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for watching Phase 1, Part 1 of the Jim Goodrich discussion. We really appreciate your time, Jim. And
this has been a blast, Ed.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be, because we've got to record this stuff, and we had a great time doing it, and we want to preserve it and bust everyone's balls that we can while we're doing it.
Well, Phil, I'm so glad that you have that video footage.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I lost all my stills. They got stolen out of a storage locker, but I had the old Super 8 film, and then Paul Schmitt approached me and he transferred them back in 2000, I guess. To
oh, good, because that stuff won't last forever. It'll just fade away to nothing.
Yeah.
So we've been recording for now 2 hours, and we have looked at 10 slides and 3 short videos.
Perfect.
So,
well, I'll try and stay focused on the backstories.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah, this is great stuff.
I mean, in fact, if I will try to find, I'll try to find some more pictures just to add into the end of this, so we have more stuff to talk about. Because I think it's important that we keep these stories alive. Crystal Loges was a great skateboarder.
Yeah.
She's part of our.
I'm sorry, I never got any pictures of her skating.
Girl pictures didn't sell back then because no one believed they could
skate. Might be some. I will make a note.
It seems like now there's more girls skating than ever now. It's almost like
it was really girls like Vicky Vickers and Ellen O'Neill, girls like that come along that kind of really. Of course, the problem is most of the guys were just thinking about getting in their pants.
Yeah.
Right? So that was problematic.
That was, and we were assholes back then. God, little testosterone fueled little idiots, little fucking.
Yeah.
Boners with Norcon helmets on.
Was that you, Phil? A dirty young man, dirty.
Yeah, I am. I'm still a dirty young man. All right, I gotta go.
Hey, thanks, Jim. We will try to do this again next week. We'll figure it out.
Thank you, Ed, Phil, George. Great to see you.
Always good to see you, Jim.
Thanks, guys. Rocco.
You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love.